Hello, Homeworthy. It's me, John. Welcome to my Brooklyn apartment. Come on in. I want to show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
Hello, I'm John Dittrick. I am a prop stylist based in New York City. I work primarily in commercial photography for home decor and lifestyle brands. We are in Brooklyn in Carroll Gardens in my apartment that I've lived for the past 2.5 years. It's my first kind of like big boy apartment that I live in on my own. And the first few years I was in New York, I was bopping around between roommates and kind of more impermanent stuff. Didn't have a lot of belongings, didn't have a lot of furniture. And so when I moved in here, I was finally ready to nest and make a home and really invest in my space. I did not immediately know that this was the one, that this apartment was the right one for me. When I first walked in, I was a little confused. The layout is a little funky. The broker brought me into what became my bedroom, and he said, this is the living room, which kind of makes sense because it's the room that's closest to the kitchen. The whole thing is like a long railroad. And I was like, oh, I don't know about this living room. It's a little small. I want something that felt a little more spacious that I could host people in. So he showed me the one side of the apartment, and then we came into this room where we are now, which he said, this is the bedroom. And I was like, oh, okay. And whoever had lived here before had left like a big king-size bed. But I was like, oh, this room is so, it's so nice and big and open, and it has this fireplace, and it has a little alcove. It could be a dining room. So I started to kind of imagine switching things up, layout-wise, what I could do with the space. It also had this really kind of dingy butter yellow color, the whole entire apartment, which made it, I think, a little hard at first to imagine what I could do with it. But the more time that I spent in the space, I could visualize what I could do, and I started to get excited about, oh yeah, I could like rearrange it this way, I could paint this, I could do that. And finally I was like, yeah, this is the one. I was going back and forth on it a little bit because it had most of the things that ticked my boxes, but the layout was a little funky. I wasn't sure. And I had a friend that I sent a video to, and she said, John, you have to take this apartment. Like, you can't say no to this one. You can't lose it. So I definitely thank her because it has, pretty much everything I was looking for. Welcome to my living room. This is kind of the main hangout spot. So when I was decorating, this was sort of the most important piece. I wanted this room to feel like open and airy, so I had this kind of lighter paint color. I really love in design like a kind of neutral base, but then adding some visual interest with color and pattern on top of it. So I have kind of this neutral vibe going on with like the couch and the walls, but then I have like patterned pillows and like colorful artwork. I have a lot of vintage artwork that I find just in stores in Brooklyn and New York City. This painting I found upstate at some barn that I had to dig through. Probably would have been $1 zillion at a Brooklyn vintage store, but I found it for pretty cheap. So I love to like find a deal whenever I can. I love these like kind of ocean blue curtains. That's another thing of just like, I like a strong pop of color on top of a neutral background. I'm also obsessed with lamps, so I'm going to be pointing out a lot of lamps as we go through. They're like my favorite thing. I love finding a new cool lamp. I also love ceramics. I'm a prop stylist, so I'm always working with props, decor items, vases, bowls. This is by one of my like favorite ceramicists, A&K ceramics. I also have in this room a lot of blankets, a lot of pillows, and that's kind of one way that my home is similar to my childhood home. It was always like cozy blankets everywhere, pillows everywhere. Another thing about my childhood home is that there's I guess a lot of tables. I remember one time when I was a kid, where my mom told me this story of when I was like really little and I was really mad at her. And I said, I'm gonna take away all your tables. And for some reason, that's the most threatening thing I could think of. And cut to me as an adult, and I have a lot of tables in this room in particular. This is a table that's actually like a desk, an antique desk that this decor store down the street, Painted Swan, they like refurb old pieces. I have this gorgeous naked man here. He's one of my favorites, one of my boyfriends. And then here we have my mantle, my fireplace. This was one of the things that I kind of wanted to have as I was looking for an apartment. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna find a fireplace, but if I do, that'd be great. So I was very excited when this place had a fireplace. I have a lot of books in here because it's not a working fireplace. So this kind of doubly serves as like kind of a cute aesthetic thing. Also functional and storage. I have a lot of props, again, as a prop stylist, so I have a lot of books. I also have a lot of just my own personal books, so it's a mix of like stuff I use for work and stuff that's mine. On top of the mantle are a lot of like just little trinkets and things that I love. I like to have pieces from my childhood home in my adult home. So like I have a couple little objects that were like on my mom's desk. I particularly love any kind of like little box or thing that you can just like put random stuff in. And that's just when I like have a little thing that I don't know what to do with, I just put it in one of the zillion little boxes that I have all around this apartment. This is a little piece of artwork that was hanging in my childhood home in the living room. I don't know what it is, but I really like it. Styling tip, if you want to make your room look dramatic and cool and stylish, just put a big branch in a vase. Go out and cut one off the tree. I don't think there's any one phrase or word that I would use to describe my personal style or the style of my home. I think it's really kind of an eclectic mix, and a lot of it is influenced maybe from the home I grew up in, specifically like the taste that my mother had. She really loved French country style, so there is some of that influence there, but I wanted to bring in some modern pieces, add a little bit of a modern aesthetic as well. So I like to really mix. I like to mix old and new. I like to mix different styles. I have certain things that I gravitate towards, but I really just like to play. And the important thing for me is that I have a home that is both sort of aesthetically pleasing, you know, that has an eye for design, but that also feels comfortable and cozy and welcoming. So really my goal for the style of my space and for my home is to feel stylish but welcoming. I want my home to be a place where people can come and feel relaxed, feel at ease, feel at home. Over here we have more tables, little table here, little table here. Again, another lamp. I told you that I love lamps. This one's from the Nopo that kind of curates a collection of handmade pieces. This was handmade in Mexico. This is a painting that I did. I like to pretend that I'm an artist and kind of throw paint around and see what happens. This takes me way longer than it should to do like a simple painting because I don't really know what I'm doing, but I like to just kind of make things up. Another one of my favorites, I found this at Humble House, which is a vintage store in Borum Hill. Yeah, love lamps. Most railroad homes will have a second door. So there's a door here, which is actually sealed shut, so I can't even use it. It would be really nice to come in and be able to like come right into my living room, but that is not the case. There's a lot of like quirks about this apartment and there's windows that have been painted over and a lot of weird little things. So I wish this was a real door, but it's actually kind of nice because I can just put stuff up against it and it doesn't matter. Sometimes I have like my TV on this little stand. So there's some stuff that they did to sort of rehab this apartment that I wish that they hadn't done. Like in addition to this door, there's shutters that are sealed here. I wish that they had just like kept these, but they're basically like sealed and painted in. Because that would have been like really cool. If I end up staying here for a long time and just decide that I don't care about my deposit, I'll do some of this like work of maybe uncovering some of these older details. I also have a feeling that there's like a really cool maybe stone fireplace under here. I can see that there's some little like intricate designs that might like show up a little bit better underneath all this paint. You can see this archway has some really cool detail, and that's one of the things that I loved about this apartment was all of the detail, just adding that level of charm, that Brooklyn charm. But yeah, like there's gotta be some really nice like wood or something underneath some of these like trims everywhere. So it would be cool to sort of uncover it, but I do also just think that it looks really nice as is with the white paint. The lighting fixtures in this apartment were all pretty unfortunate, so I had to like find some solutions for making it a little more fun and more me. So this was like a big lantern that I just found on Etsy and had somebody come and install it for me. I changed pretty much every lighting fixture throughout the apartment, and that really did a lot to elevate and change up the space. So if I'm hosting a party, this is kind of the main gathering space. I feel like even though I do have a dining area with an expandable table, everyone kind of just ends up here, like even when we're eating, just kind of all gathered around. This is where we like play games and just sit and chat. So if I'm having like a little get together, I'll probably have the food and drink kind of stationed in this little dining nook, and then everyone will kind of be hanging out here. My favorite part of my home is definitely this room that we're in right now, the living room, because this is where people gather. I have friends over for game nights. I have family stay with me, and this is where we hang out at the beginning, end of the day. It's a nice space to just sit and chat, and that was my whole goal with this room and the apartment as a whole, was for it to just feel comfortable and easy. And so any space where people can feel at home, that's my favorite thing. That's my favorite part. So this room, I think, encapsulates that the most. Speaking of my dining room, I would love to show you. So come follow me into this little alcove. This is where, actually, I don't really sit and eat here that often, but every once in a while. But this is usually where like I lay out all the food if I'm having like a gathering, little snacks and things. I have done, me and my friend Molly hosted like a little paint night where I styled like a vignette in the front or in the center of the table, and then we had people sitting around the table and painting. So we do like fun little things like that. My favorite part about my dining room is this painting right here. So this is one of the quirky things about this apartment. This was a window. I don't know why it was a window, but it appears to have been one. It's basically just this like frame and then like a boarded over wall inside the frame. So when I moved in, I was like, what am I gonna do with this giant rectangle? So my sister is an artist, and I had her find a canvas that was like the exact size of the window and do this beautiful painting for me. And then I painted the frame. Basically, the painting is like hung on top of the wall, and then this window frame I just painted gold to kind of fake look like a picture frame. My other favorite thing in this room is this hutch right here, which is probably my favorite piece of furniture. I love that it kind of feels like a heritage piece, even though I bought it. I didn't inherit it from anyone, but it feels like a family piece of furniture. I felt like a real grown up when I bought this. And when I saw it in the store, I went home and measured, but it was really tight to fit it in this nook. I had to like saw off pieces of the trim at the top and in the middle here to get it to fit. But if you look at the bottom, there's like barely a centimeter of room to for this thing to fit. I love it. It's such a pretty piece, and it's a great place to kind of store and display props and decor pieces, and also just things that I can like grab to use when I'm having a party, if we're having a little drink, or little snacks that I need like bowls for. I have like way too many teacups. I should really just host a big tea party because I have all these teacups. The last thing that I want to show you in my dining room is this photo that I love so much. This is actually me in the middle there and my siblings, and we are sitting on our driveway amidst all of these shoes because my mom was like getting rid of shoes or something and wanted to like memorialize them. I don't know if she brought out some of the other shoes that she wasn't getting rid of, but basically she put all these shoes on the driveway and had us all pose with them. And I think it's such a cool, weird picture. And it sort of encapsulates this idea of like resourcefulness and kind of having these projects that with your belongings, or just kind of like the stuff of life. Like we have all this stuff, and it's all about like making use of them, turning it into like a cool photo or art project. And so that's definitely like a trait that has been inherited to me, is like, what can I use this for? What can I do with this? What weird thing can I do with all this stuff that I'm getting rid of or whatever? So I love this picture. So this is the light fixture that I found on Etsy from a little boutique that's based in Turkey. And I loved the shape, I loved the fabric, I love the color. If you can't tell yet, my favorite colors are blue and yellow. So those are kind of the colors that I like to play with and add in my home. This room is the most bold paint color of any of the rooms in my home. I wanted, I don't know, I wanted this dining room to feel very cozy, and so I went with this dark blue. I was really nervous about it before I painted it because it is like dark, and this room is already a little bit dark. But once I started putting on this blue paint, I was like, oh yes, this is very right. It kind of reminds me of the blue in my childhood home that was in like my bedroom carpet was like a kind of blue. There was like a little living room that had a similar blue to this, so I really love this color. This is a rug that I also got on Etsy. I think it's vintage. I tried to get like really strategic about where I was getting stuff. Like these chairs I actually got recently. I bought them from a restaurant. I think like in decorating a home, no matter what your budget is, you kind of have to make some choices on where is it worth it for you to splurge. where are your priorities in terms of where you can spend a little bit more, and where can you save money and be a little bit cheaper and get some cheaper stuff that might actually look just as good. So I did a lot of searching on Etsy, Facebook Marketplace, a lot of like vintage hunting, and I was really specific about, you know, where can I kind of spend a little bit more? That would be something like this hutch, and where can I like cut some corners, like buying some cheap chairs that a restaurant is getting rid of and will still look cute and stylish. So I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, and it really was a wonderful place to grow up. It was the perfect like size city. It was big enough where there was opportunities, things to get involved in, but small enough where it had, you know, a nice community feel. It felt safe. It felt like a supportive environment. But I did know as I was finishing high school that I really wanted to expand my horizons. I wanted to experience different cities. I felt, you know, ambitious about what I could possibly do for career and work. So I really wanted to get out there and sort of have a little adventure. So I started out in LA. I moved there first for school, and worked in LA for a few years after school, and then at a certain point it kind of became clear to me that I was ready for something new, ready for a big change, and New York had always kind of been in the back of my mind and something, a city that I was really drawn to. So yeah, I just sort of did it. When I moved to New York, I didn't really have a plan. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't have a job when I first moved here. I just had really a gut feeling that it was time to go. So it's been quite a journey since I left Omaha, and I think I've just really been kind of following my nose and seeing where life takes me. So right off my dining room is my guest bedroom, little tiny guest bedroom. So let's come in here. This is actually one of the first rooms that I like really worked on because I had a guest coming, which is always great. I love when people are coming over because it's a reason to like get things done. So my friend Laura was coming to stay, and I was like, okay, she needs to have a nice place to stay, so I'll get this together. So this room doesn't have any windows, so it's like kind of dark. And so I wanted to do something with it that would brighten it up a little bit, but still keep it cozy. So I really wanted to go for some color in this room. This is the one room where I didn't like buy a bunch of paint samples. I just sort of picked one. I bought the paint. I was like, okay, let's just try it. And I did it, and it worked out pretty well. I got this day bed from IKEA, and I painted it the same color as the walls because I wanted this sort of monochromatic look with this kind of turquoise, periwinkle, aqua-ish, sea blue. I don't know what you call it. But I wanted that like monochromatic and then like a punch of strong color with the yellow in the bedding and stuff. And then I have this plethora of pillows for you to plop yourself down onto. I love pillows. A couple of these I got in Paris, thank you very much, from this like cute little boutique called Jamini. It's like a Indian, Franco-Indian design store. So this bed actually pulls out into a king and basically takes up the entire room, but I always just pull it all the way out so that whoever's in here can just really lounge and relax. And that's one of the reasons why I actually took off the door that was on here, because it wouldn't even open when the king bed was pulled out. But I also like it because it just lets in a lot of like more air from the living room. And then I put this like curtain here to kind of divide the rooms, and so you can take the curtain off to get some, I guess, like darken the room or get some privacy from the living room. So this is the other side of that window that I showed you in the dining room. These little shelves were already here when I moved in. but I painted the inside this like darker blue. And here's another space where I have like a lot of knickknacks and things, and some of my favorite books, mostly the blue books, go here because I'm crazy and kind of color code my books. But there's a lot of little fun pieces on here that I love. Like, I love this think sign. My mom worked for IBM in like the 80s or something, I think, and she had this little think sign on her desk, and I found a similar one on eBay or something, and I got it. And there's my mom right there. I like to have, you know, some really specific, well-chosen photos of family in specific spots. So I also have like my mom and dad right there, and just nice little reminders of home. I was really lucky with this apartment in New York City to find an apartment that has some pretty good storage. So I have a lot of closets, which is nice. I'm not gonna open my closets for you because that's too personal. But yeah, I love my closets. And then on this side of the room, there's just a little desk that I never really sit at, but I do stuff papers in the drawers. So it's a little storage place. And when I have people come stay, they might like sit here and do their makeup or fix their hair or something. And I'm just perpetually praying that this mirror doesn't fall off the wall. Some of these walls I feel like are kind of crumbly. It's an old building, but it's holding together pretty well so far. Here's another boarded up window. It's always like, why did they board these up? What's going on? But for this one, I decided to like paint the inside of it a darker blue, and then I have all of my little Beyonce postcards posted there because we gotta have the queen in here somewhere. So there were a lot of things that I did to kind of put my personal stamp on this home. One of the first things I did was I painted the whole thing. I first chose a color for this living room and my bedroom, which insanely took about 10 different samples to go through because it's like basically white, but those neutrals, those like off-white colors can be challenging and have different kind of undertones. So I went really crazy picking that paint color, and then I went for some bolder colors in like my dining room and my guest room. So painting was kind of the first step. And then it was bringing in furniture, which I basically had nothing because when I lived with roommates, you know, either they had stuff or the stuff that I brought in was, you know, things that I got very cheaply or at a sample sale at my old job. And I really didn't want to feel too tied down by my stuff. So I didn't really invest. But when I came here, I was ready to build a home and ready to invest more. So then it became searching for furniture and the right pieces to sort of add some personality. This little nook in the middle of my apartment is actually the entryway. So when you come in the door right here, you either go that way towards the living room or that way towards my bedroom. This one big long apartment, and you start here. But I really like having a little space, a little nook to kind of come in, set things down, a place to like greet people. I think it's nice to have a sort of foyer entry moment as a buffer from the rest of the apartment. So I have a little drop zone right here. If I don't put my keys there, I'll never find them. And then like hooks to throw your coat or your bag. And since this was just like a little teeny nook, I decided I'd throw a lot of art on the walls to kind of draw your eye up and just kind of have a little fun project for myself of filling this kind of gallery. So I love this little table, another one of my beloved tables, a vintage piece that I found in the neighborhood. And then, yeah, a lot of artwork that I really like, including this picture that I found that's a vintage photograph of this street, and this piece of art that's a drawing from my Uncle Tom. I don't even think he knows that I have this, but he drew this for a book that my mom wrote in her 20s. And I really love that. And there's a print also from my sister, the same sister that did the painting in my dining room. There's a print of a painting she did of this landscape with trees and people hidden in the trees. They're all playing musical instruments. And then from here we can head into my bedroom. So let's go this way. Okay, so this is my bedroom. This is the first room that I saw when I first saw the apartment. And yeah, this is the one where the broker said this is the living room, which does make sense because the kitchen's right there. But I just decided to change everything up and use the bigger room as the living room and this room as my bedroom, even though there's essentially a kitchen in my bedroom. So this is another space like the living room that I wanted to have sort of like a neutral base, just like a relaxing, calm foundation, and then add some color, like with the textiles, with the pillows. Here I have my dresser, which I really love. For the first few months that I lived here, I just had a pile of clothes on my floor because I couldn't find the perfect dresser that was like the right size. I wanted something that was like both tall and wide. And then I found this at a antique store, and it was blue, which is perfect. Another lamp. We know I love lamps. This bowl is usually filled to the brim with receipts, but I've tidied up for you guys. So this is where I toss all my receipts and then hopefully organize them someday later. I told you I love my family photographs. This is my favorite picture of my mom and my grandpa. I just love it. I love both of them, and they both look so chic. This was like in the 70s. Most of my artwork is vintage, and I either got it at like a little antique stand or found this one on Cherish, I think. I have a bunch of my journals up here. This goes in with like the kind of record keeping theme that like that photo in my dining room of my mom taking this photo of all the shoes. I just love keeping records, whether it's through photos or through writing. And so these are all my journals, at least the ones from the past several years since I've lived in New York. And then I have a bunch more in storage somewhere. And then over here, I have this little dining table, little tiny dining nook. I thought I would just embrace the fact that my kitchen is right off my bedroom and have this little table and chairs. So it's nice because I can like sit here in the morning and have a cup of coffee. I actually end up like eating at this little table a lot, even like dinner sometime, or having a little nightcap or something. So I love this little table. So over here, I have a cute little bookshelf. All these shelves were already here when I moved in, so that was really nice. I guess this is the kind of like blonde beige book area. I always like to have just like little teeny tokens and sprinkles of little objects that I love hiding on bookshelves, like, you know, this little owl that was on my mom's desk, or these little guys that have been sort of like good luck charms since I was a kid. I got these in London at a flea market. Just this little elephant guy and this little dice this little die that tells you what to do if you're bored. Read, tidy room, which is what I was doing this morning before you got here. More lamps. You know I love lamps, if you know me at all yet. These are from Notary Ceramics. They're based on the Pacific Northwest somewhere. But this ceramicist that I really love that makes these beautiful lamps with these cute shades. And this right here is a walk-in closet that is my prop closet where I keep all my props for work. I am not going to open that for you because, again, that is too personal. And it's a mess right now. But yes, very lucky to have a lot of storage in this apartment. That was one of the main things that I was looking for, was storage. I had to have a place to keep my props and my stuff. It was storage. It was have a space for guests. It was have an apartment that had some charm and character, and then the fireplace. That was the icing on the cake. So as I said, I'm a prop stylist, and that career has definitely influenced my taste in decor. In working for different home furnishing and home decor brands, I have to really be aware of design trends, what people are gravitating towards, what's selling. I have to stay modern and current, and balance that with my own personal style and taste. So this apartment, decorating this was really like a fun, kind of playful experience of getting to explore my style based on, where my taste has always been, how I grew up, and then integrating that with sort of where I am now and the more modern aesthetics that I've acquired from my work. So the other thing too about my job is that it has me constantly looking for design inspiration. I'm constantly seeing, images of homes, and those always really excite me. And so I see something that I love, I see something that I'm really drawn to, and I think, oh, I can play with that in my home. So just being immersed in the design world and the styling world has it constantly on my mind. What can I do to play with my home, to make it feel mine, to make it feel fun and exciting? Let's make our way into the kitchen. Welcome to my kitchen, my tiny little kitchen. It is small, but I love it because it has some really nice light. It feels, very, very happy and sunny. And I was about to say I like cooking in here, but that's a lie because I don't really cook that much, sorry to say. It's New York City. I order takeout a lot. But I have this little chair for if the rare moments that I am cooking, I can have a friend sit and chat. In my dream world, I have like a big kitchen that basically has like a living room in it so that people can chat. Because I do love, even though I don't cook much, I do love the whole vibe of the kitchen that's like hang out, make a meal. I do have some aspirational cookbooks in the corner, and this countertop here was like a kind of ugly granite that I didn't love, so I recovered it in this contact paper in this pretty blue color, but don't get too close because I only did kind of an okay job here. But it makes me much happier to look at this blue. I have some plants in the window and more little trinkets from my childhood home. My mom really liked roosters. Her mom was Swedish, so this is a little Swedish rooster. I have a few little roosters around. And then I have some more family photos, Christmas cards on my fridge. So on this hidden side of my fridge, this is where I keep all my magnets from my Broadway shows. I love theater, and every time I see a show, I get a little magnet. So that's a little kind of hide and seek moment. If you happen to be on this side of my kitchen, you can see all of the shows that I've been to. Some more like vintage art in this little room that I really love. I got this from this place called Joliet. That's like an online store for like French antiques. Right here I have my mother's famous kolache recipe that my sister printed and laminated for me, or copied and laminated with her little notes. Even though I said I don't cook that much, when I do it, I'm pretty good because I can follow a recipe. I'm a good baker because I can really follow a recipe, which you have to do when you're baking. And so I've made these kolaches before, and they're really delicious. The idea of home has always been something that has been really fascinating to me and really important to me. I had a really strong relationship to the home that I grew up in, not only like the physical space, the house, but also just the environment and the people. And I think that's sort of a theme or a question of my entire life is, what is home? How do you feel at home? And some of that is just your general environment. It's the people in your life that make you feel at home. It's being secure in yourself, as well as the people around you, feeling comfortable with where you're at. And that is a more spiritual place. And it also, I think, is reflected in your physical space. So a home should be someplace where you feel safe. It should be someplace where you feel like the most yourself. And so when I'm putting a home together, it's not only, you know, a reflection of the person that lives there in terms of their style and their aesthetic taste, but it's also a reflection of who they are and how they want to find comfort in the space, how I want to find comfort in my home, and how I want other people to find comfort here. Because as much as I love stuff and things and pretty furniture and pretty dishes and all of the stuff, it kind of doesn't mean anything without the people to share in the space and the people to share in your home, because it's really the people in your life that make you feel like home.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.